Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrikster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go GBL battles. These battles are some of the early matches that I've been playing. I have been playing in Remix Cup. I tend to play games in Remix rather than playing in Open Great League because, Remix is it's a new meta, and a new meta is usually a little bit more interesting to me because I've been playing this game for such a damn long time. But I will definitely make a team for Open Great League, and I guess I'll try to get that video out like tomorrow, the day after. It's gonna take me some time because I have to use my battles from today because I am streaming tonight. So come by my stream. So I am opening with Shadow Golbat. If you don't have a Shadow Golbat, regular Golbat is fine. With G-Fisk and Bastiodon out of the meta, the only real Steel type that is kind of a big threat to the team is Registeel. But between Frostlass and Golbat, you can manage. Like, Frostlass can beat Registeel if it has a shield advantage, which is what just happened there. I had to drop down the shield advantage that I had gained in the opening and just switched out to Frostlass to start getting up some extra energy. Because Frostlass with energy and a shield advantage is pretty strong, especially just with no Bastiodon. Bastiodon was a huge problem for a lot of the Golbat teams that I built, and with that not being here, it's just feels like it has much cleaner paths to victory. So, new addition to my team is Double Ball Castform. Castform with 2 balls, as you can see them right there on screen. Definitely has 2, so having just access to 1 Weather Ball just never really felt complete. So between Weather Ball Normal and Weather Ball Rock, the only typing that resists both of those is Steel, but the only Steel type that's really much of a threat in this meta is Registeel. Because even Rock, which takes, resisted damage from Normal, takes neutral damage from Rock for whatever reason. Smashing 2 rocks together is completely effective. So my opponent's fast swapped into Mandibuzz, and I switched out right away to Castform, feeling that this would be a stronger match than it is. It's like a neutral-ish matchup, obviously. The further you go into the multi-shield, the stronger it becomes for Castform, because Castform is so much spammier. Getting to its charge moves every 3 fast moves, whereas even if Mandibuzz was running Snarl, not Air Slash, as this one is, even with Snarl, it's 3.5. So, a full half of a fast move outpaced by Castform. Unfortunately, the Hex do nothing. So, the Hexes do nothing. So I end up getting simultaneous KO'd there. The solution really for a Mandibuzz safe swap, probably bringing in Frostlass. Frostlass would have to spend a shield only if the opponent does, because as Frostlass, even if they're using Snarl and Dark Pulse, you survive the Dark Pulse and are able to farm them down if they no shield. If you just throw your Avalanche as soon as you have it so that you get to there before. And if they no shield, then there's nothing they can do to stop them from getting powdered down. So switching Frostlass into Mandibuzz might be better. I was just eager to get some good use out of and to develop some familiarity with Castform, because now here in the early stages, in the early matches, it's a good time to maybe sacrifice Perfect Play to build up some familiarity with the Pokemon that you're using if you're using anything new. And I haven't been much of a normal Castform user in the past, so it's good to try to get a hang on that. I switched out there because I was trying to catch a Cross Poison. I was assuming it was coming, and my opponent didn't throw it as soon as he could. So I ended up catching it on Frostlass, but Frostlass resists poison also. I'm able to take that game. Frostlass is a super strong Pokemon in this meta. Registeel is considered very, very meta. It is one of the highest ranked Pokemon in the PvPoke rankings for this. But I just haven't been seeing many of them yet, and I've been seeing everything else. So if Registeel starts to rise to prominence, I might have to address that. But Shadow Golbat, same as Frostlass, is not amazing against Registeel, but not so terrible. And if they, are using Registeel, then they'll probably need fighting counters in the back, which would be Flyers, which Castform has a pretty good matchup against because of the Weather Ball Rock. And Frostlass also. So if I encountered a Registeel opening, which I didn't, the plan is to stay in with Golbat and do the damage you can. That's all. If you're running normal Golbat, I think you easily survive one Flash Cannon also. I'm not even sure if I survive a Flash Cannon or not with regular Golbat. But yeah, somebody kindly run this team and run into a Registeel opening and let me know how that went. Thanks. All right. So, Double Ball Castform. I mean, I'm double resisting these Shadow Claws. I'm going to no shield here, even though I'm at a move and I could have shielded and thrown the Weather Ball and then been pretty safe to farm down. The thing is, I know that the Raichu has energy already. And even though I sneak in an extra wing attack here, I'm going to have to shield this, what I assumed was going to be a Wild Charge, and it turned out to be an Energy Ball, which is super weird. And yeah, this Raichu is at 3, and I end up taking a Wild Charge and dying, and that's unfortunate because Raichu is going to win CMP also. So rather than try to throw on CMP, which I would definitely lose, Frostlass absolutely not even close to winning CMP against Raichu, I decided to just try to take the hit and see if maybe, you know, I would survive with enough health to still be able to, you know, build up extra energy and take out Mew, and it's just, it was not close. Did not come close to surviving that. Alolan Raichu, kind of a tough lead. Yeah. Mew in the back was also pretty rough. All right, so this opponent is opening with Primeape, throws a few punches. Punching Golbat is like punching a ghost. Literally, in that they both just double resist counters. The counters do nothing. So I got some free energy, and the Mandibuzz swapped in, and I ended up going in with Castform again. I'm using, this time it kind of makes sense that I throw Castform in. Like, Castform can deal with Mandibuzz, and since both of the Pokemon that I have left over now, Frostlass and Golbat, have a really strong matchup against Primeape, I don't even really need to fight for Switch, so if I lose Switch here in this matchup, it's fine. Because I can come in with Golbat or Frostlass, get a ton of farm. So that's why I'm not fighting for Switch here. I'm just going to let it go down. Even though my opponent shielded, and I could shield and definitely get in another Weather Ball because Castform outpaces, I thought it would be better to just bring in Frostlass and load up with energy. Because they can't even really bring in Primeape, who can do okay against Frostlass because it learns Night Slash. If Frostlass were to stay in, if they were to switch in Primeape, which is what they did, I can throw this Avalanche, and if they had shielded, I would have brought in Golbat, but they didn't do that. Instead of bringing in a Wigglytuff, their switch timer isn't up yet, so now their Wigglytuff is switch locked against my Golbat. This is obviously a very strong winning matchup for Golbat. They don't shield the first Poison Fang, makes sense. The second one they will have to shield, but even if they do, they won't be able to reach a charge move before I wing attack them down, so they really have nowhere to go here. Yeah, able to take out that Wigglytuff, and it appears that my opponent has left the match because that's what causes the lag when they force quit their game. So Mandibuzz is just going to come out, and I'm just going to wing attack down, so GG. All right, next up against Poke Elite Boy. Golbat into Crawdaunt. So this is nuts, and I was expecting Snarl, and instead it's Waterfall, which is really chunking quite a bit because, you know, stab Waterfall from a Crawdaunt. Crawdaunt is very squishy and hits really, really hard, at least it's not a Shadow. And then my opponent switches into Golbat, and I'm not used to having such a strong answer to Golbat, but now I'm running Castform, and Castform is a really strong answer to Golbat. So I'm going to no-shield all of these moves, obviously. Shadow Ball, double resisted. I really doubt that they would be running Sludge Bomb or something, especially now that I've already taken that Poison Fang. And I'm just going to throw this next Weather Ball sooner rather than later because I know my opponent has a bunch of energy, and I was hoping to get a shield. I'm still going to no-shield this. Even if it's the Poison Fang, it won't do that much. My opponent opts to throw Shadow Ball instead, which you should never do to a normal Castform, but it's okay. And now Crawdaunt is going to come in and Waterfall me down. These are matches from my first day of battles, so obviously the field has not yet stratified into, you know, different leagues. So I'm facing off against pretty much anyone and anything. Although, I will say, kudos to the community. I don't know, my opponent got a third shield there. I didn't even have a shield. And I shield this and it still die anyway. I had terrible lag on this match. Doesn't matter though, this is fine. But yeah, I have seen almost entirely mostly viable teams running mostly the right moves. I remember in past seasons, there would be so many matches in the beginning where I'd face off and it's like, what even is this? It would just be everyone running triple garbage, or like just literal trubbish and stuff. It was, yeah, almost entirely viable teams with like some meta and some off meta mods this season. I don't know if maybe they're not pairing me against people who were like, I don't know, at below certain ranks or something. But it looks to me like the field as a whole has just gotten better. So I get a Nidorina, which is fine, I guess. XL candy for the Ultra League Nidoqueen that I have not built yet. But, you know, that's one more candy on my way there. And yeah, managed to go 4 out of 5. All right, next up, Golbat into Meganium. This is obviously a ridiculously strong matchup for Golbat. Opponent switches into Lantern, and I built up a little bit of energy before switching out. Might have been safer to throw the Poison Fang and debuff, especially since Castform will end up coming in, and I think if I had thrown the Poison Fang and debuffed, if I had not gotten a shield, I think Castform would have been able to just throw 2 Weather Balls, so might have been a little more efficient. Regardless, these water guns are not really hurting Castform that much. Castform is just really, really bulky for something so small. And yeah, I'm able to just reach this next Weather Ball well before the Lantern is able to reach something. So if they want to start trading out shields, that is totally fine for me, obviously, since I outpace. I am happy to trade shields. Just going to shield this. That's another Thunderbolt. Build up a little bit of extra energy, and then I'm going to throw this Weather Ball. Just so that if they, you know, so I have a little bit less health for them to farm down if I end up getting taken out. And I do end up getting taken out anyway, but that's fine. I'm just going to bring in Frostlass, because Frostlass can survive the Thunderbolt a lot better than Golbat can. Take that. It does quite a decent amount, and then my opponent switches out into Meganium. I'm just going to throw my Avalanche, since, you know, they might have been trying to bait out Golbat so they could then farm down with something else. I'd rather still have the ability to switch, so let's see what comes out. And it's a Registeel, which is a really, really... it's tough, but I mean, I think this is the second Registeel I've seen, and I've just been able to Shadow Ball them both down. As you can see, does almost half. I'm just going to shield here. Is a Flash Cannon, and as long as they don't catch the Shadow Ball, I should be just fine. Just going to throw this, land that, and yeah, I can just Powder Snow down the Lantern just before Frostlass goes down. So, very clean Frostlass sweep at the end there. And on into the next match. Against Alanair B. Golbat into Whiscash. This is pretty decent for Golbat. The opponent is going to switch out right away to Mandibuzz, so I am just going to bring in Castform. Castform would have a not... I mean, it's a mostly neutral matchup, Castform into Whiscash. I think Whiscash is a little bit bulkier, so probably ends up winning that if you're just going straight Weather Ball, even though Weather Ball is kind of an efficient move. I should have looked that up before I said anything. You know, it would have been a lot better if I could have just pretended to know or just not addressed it, rather than saying something and I just don't know the truth value of what I just said. I don't know. Whiscash probably goes about even to Castform. Anyway, I'm just going to throw this Weather Ball. Not quite take out Mandibuzz. This is the thing about the Mandibuzz safe swap. When I send in Castform, I think I need to stay in with Golbat a little bit longer, even just to get the extra wing attacks in, because Hex does so little and wing attack does a lot more. So if I can just land, maybe build up to the Poison Fang before switching out, I think that's probably the right move on most Mandibuzzes. If they have really, really good IVs, I might have to build up a little bit past the Poison Fang, and if they end up throwing something before Golbat can switch out, that is obviously totally fine. Gonna no shield against Pidgeot because Pidgeot always throws Feather Dance, and then Whiscash is gonna come back in. I'm building up to 5 mud shots from the opponent before I am throwing this Poison Fang. And I didn't get a shield, but that's all right. I'm just going to try to build up as much as I can and throw at the last second to maybe feign Shadow Ball, hopefully get a shield here. And if not, that's also fine, because with that, this Whiscash is a lot lower. So I'm just going to bring out Castform, throw this Weather Ball. Hopefully this was a CMP tie that I lost, and it is. If not, I would have just switched out to Frostlass right away. And yeah, now I'm just going to bring in Frostlass. Shields are down. He obviously can't Blizzard me because that doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to no shield, take this Mud Bomb, no problem. Pidgeot comes back out, and I can just Powder Snow the whole way down. Not an issue at all. Now that they nerfed Feather Dance, Pidgeot is it just takes too long for Pidgeot to reach a move. It takes way too much time. They nerfed it by too much. Needed a nerf. Maybe not as strong as the nerf that they gave it, though. It just feels like a lot. All right, Golbat into Kingdra. Kingdra is a pretty unusual lead, although in Remix Cup maybe not as much. So yeah, even so, Golbat has a pretty decent matchup. I'm just gonna throw this first Poison Fang. I don't get a shield. I'm almost certain this is gonna be an Octazooka, but that's all right. I'm gonna shield it anyway because, you know, Golbat kind of squish. And since he did not get the defense drop, I can just wing attack the whole way down. Wouldn't have been able to wing attack down if I had not shielded. And now Nidoqueen comes out, and I'm just going to go straight Shadow Ball. Get a shield, and now I'm going to switch out to Castform because my Frostlass has a better matchup against Nidoqueen. And yeah, since they are staying in, not too sure what that means yet. Get the defense drop on my Castform, and that's all right. I'm going to throw this Weather Ball. Weather Ball Normal hits more efficiently than Weather Ball Rock, but, you know, Nidoqueen also resists Rock, so I'm glad I have Double Ball. Not going to shield this next Poison Fang either, because even with that, I still can obviously reach this Weather Ball, no problem. I'm anticipating this drawing a shield, and I get it. Just because, you know, I've switched into Castform, it maybe implies that I don't have an answer to Nidoqueen at all. And now I'm going to send out Frostlass. Just get these Powder Snows in. I'm going to no shield here because, I mean, I have the option to switch out to Golbat to clear my debuff anyway. And there's a Mandibuzz back there, so there's not even really a need. I can just throw this Avalanche. And this is specifically why I say I should probably just bring Frostlass in. Because after throwing one, I could shield and keep most of my energy on Frostlass. I end up having to switch out, actually, to catch on Golbat. Not really as good. Like, Frostlass, when it hasn't been debuffed, can actually take a foul play, and it's not really that big of a deal. Like, you survive it just fine. But because they had already been debuffed, I had to end up switching out to make that catch. But Frostlass is a pretty decent answer to Mandibuzz. I've been seeing a lot of Mandibuzz safe swaps, and I'm just not sure if Castform is actually the right move. So this opponent safe swaps Gyarados, which is interesting. I'm going to throw this Poison Fang. I get a shield because, you know, Gyarados is kind of squishy. And now I'm going to switch out to Castform. I'm not going to shield this. It can't be an Outrage yet. So worst this can be is a Crunch, which will lower my defense possibly. Since it doesn't, that's fine. I'm going to build up to double Weather Ball before throwing this one. Want to have some energy left over. KOs, and now Obstagoon is going to come back out. I'm able to throw this Weather Ball Normal, which is going to do, I mean, not nothing, but, you know, it's like 30%. And I will be able to get off another Weather Ball, which is going to be nice chip damage before I get countered the rest of the way down. Either way, this has been pretty good damage to Obstagoon, because as much as Golbat has a pretty good matchup against Obs, it's not so dominating that, you know, that I wouldn't prefer to have as much chip as possible. Opponent switches into Wormadam, and I throw this Poison Fang, which is definitely the wrong thing. It's double resisted, and there's no way they're going to shield. And then I'm going to bring in Frostlass. Frostlass can outpace Wormadam pretty easily. It is 5 confusions to the Iron Head. 5 confusions to the Iron Head, or 4.5? 4.5 confusions to the Iron Head. Regardless, I'm just going to throw this Shadow Ball here, because I'm not super confident Avalanche would be enough. They no shield, and now Obstagoon just comes back out. I'm going to be able to reach this next Avalanche, no problem. And no matter what this Obstagoon does, I'm not going to shield anything. I'm just going to save my last shield for Golbat, because you can't store triple Night Slash, and this Obstagoon's nowhere near that much energy anyway. At this point, I can just shield this, and I should be able to wing attack down, no problem. And my opponent leaves before they get wing attack down. GG. All right. Next up, Golbat into Nidoqueen. This is a decent matchup in the sense that, you don't have to shield anything. My opponent switches to try to catch a move on Dugong, and I'm not going to throw. I'm just going to switch out to Castform instead. I sneak in an extra Hex, which is nice, but I didn't get to throw my Weather Ball right away. I get a ton of lag here, like way too much lag. I think they got in 2 free. Just looking at the health bars, it looks like they got in 2 extra Ice Shards, so really unfortunate lag spike, but I mean, I'm going to no-shield this Icy Wind. That's fine. Except that now I'm debuffed further, so even if this Weather Ball goes through, it will not do that much damage. My opponent ends up shielding and is able to just Ice Shard me down. So, I mean, dropped 2 shields to preserve their Dugong. And yeah, now I'm going to bring out Frostlass. I'm not going to shield this either because it's just going to be another Icy Wind, and obviously Frostlass resisting ice. I don't really want to shield that. Build up a little bit of extra energy, and now I'm going to throw this Shadow Ball. Because I've been debuffed, it will not be enough, not even close. Also, Dugong is ridiculously thick. Even if I hadn't been debuffed, that still wouldn't have been enough. But I'm going to no-shield this Icy Wind also. And then my opponent actively swaps out to Nidoqueen, which is fine for me because, I mean, even though I'm double debuffed, this Avalanche is going to hit for super effective. It is such a strong move from a Pokemon that hits fairly hard. It's going to just barely not KO. And I'm going to let this go since this was a CMP tie. I don't really need Frostlass anymore at this point. The Dugong is so low that I can probably just Poison Fang it down. I'm going to throw one wing attack when it comes out, and past me had forgotten how much health it had, so I ended up throwing a Shadow Ball, which is gross overkill. But there's a Shadow Machamp back there, so it doesn't even matter. I'm just going to be... I still have a shield, and I'm easily going to be able to reach the Shadow Ball. Blast down this Machamp. Excuse me. You managed to take that game. GG. Alright, so another set. I go 5 out of 5 here, and I get a Solosis, which is garbage. Solosis is bad. Maybe someday it'll have its day and they'll buff some of its attacks or give it a new one, but Solosis and its evolutions are unusable. Alright, next set. Golbat into Whiscash. This is a mostly favorable matchup. It's not so strong that the opponent has to switch out right away. Like, if they stay in, and like in the zeros, Whiscash will win. Like, I can throw this Shadow Ball. He didn't sneak in a move or anything. And even if it lands, it's not enough. So I switched out on 9 to try to catch a Blizzard on Frostlass, and they were not throwing. That's fine. And then they switched into Toxicroak, which is really, really far from a Frostlass answer. It maybe would have... I mean, I guess you want to get Toxicroak out of there because it's even worse against against Golbat. But, like, I don't need to shield anything. They throw a Sludge Bomb, which is not very effective. Would have been better to throw the Mud Bomb because it would have forced me in a position where I wouldn't have had to shield it anyway, but I at least wouldn't be able to farm up as much extra because they would get to the next one faster. Gonna bring Whiscash in, and I'm gonna let this go. Mud Bomb lands. I know this Whiscash has a ton of extra energy after that. Throws only 2 Mud Shots, but I mean, they had waited before switching out. Well, they built up extra energy, so I correctly shield the Blizzard. And with that, now it is 1 Pokemon against 2 in the 1 shield, and I mean, I have an energy lead on Golbat. I'm not going to mess around with Poison Fang because I really don't need to debuff anyway. Just going to go straight Shadow Ball, and I managed to take Drifblim down. But, I mean, no matter what had happened, Castform is such a strong answer to Drifblim also. But alright, next up. Golbat into Toxicroak. Super, super strong matchup for me. When they switch out, I will just try, if possible, to switch into Castform. That's why I'm doing that again. Probably a little bit too early. Should have thrown a few more wing attacks. You're going to see that that's going to come back to bite me as this match progresses. Just because, yeah, Castform with Weather Ball Rock hits for super effective, but Mandibuzz is so ridiculously thick that now post Castform debuff, it actually takes a little bit more than 3. If my hexes were doing basically nothing, then that would be a lot better, but it's fine. Just going to throw this next Weather Ball. I'm always hoping that the Mandibuzz will shield. Whenever they shield, it's always good for me, and I'm going to let this move go anyway. Because even though they shielded, I should be able to reach another Weather Ball before they reach their move anyway. Well, did not happen this time. I think they must have snuck in a move or something. And I don't know why I'm shielding here. It doesn't even make sense. And then they're at another move. So, like, I don't know what I was doing. And I don't know how they won CMP here either. They definitely should not win CMP. I don't know why I shielded. There was really no reason to shield. I'm going to throw this Weather Ball Rock. It's not going to be quite enough to KO. And I have to throw another Weather Ball Rock because, you know, because I misplayed this so terribly. They have a Toxicroak left over. There was no need to win Switch. I should absolutely have just let it go. Now I'm going to bring in Frostlass to get ahead on energy since Golbat is already ahead on energy. I see Toxicroak comes back out, and that's fine. Doesn't really tell me anything. Build up a little bit extra, and I'm going to throw this Avalanche right here. Take Toxicroak out. And there's an Emolga back there, so that's GG. All right, so yeah. Definitely got lucky there. That team had no answer to Frostlass at all. But I horribly, horribly misplayed that Castform Mandibuzz matchup. I don't know what I was doing. I should just never shield and just, you know, throw in a situation where I don't need the alignment specifically. So another Mandibuzz swap, another Castform response. Can take that foul play and throw this Weather Ball. I wasn't paying attention to what I did before here. Hopefully I threw some extra wing attacks before I switched out. It looks like it did, actually, because this Mandibuzz looks like it's taken more damage, and so does my Golbat. So maybe I played this one a little bit better this time. That would be nice. Able to throw this Weather Ball before they get to their... I mean, they have energy for their next foul play. Just didn't throw it until then. And here, I mean, I'm going to shield here and be able to hex down just fine. If I had thrown one more wing attack before I switched out, wouldn't have been an issue. But, you know, just slightly misjudged the amount of wing attacks I need to throw. Looks like the answer is 6 or 7, to be safe. Gonna no shield here. I mean, it's an Ariados. Golbat is super strong against Ariados, and so is Pidgeot. Or, sorry, so is Frostlass. I mean, so is Pidgeot also. But, yeah, my opponent switches into Pidgeot. I'm going to throw this Poison Fang. I get a shield, which is nuts, and then I switch out to Frostlass, and my opponent just resigns the game. That's enough. It's GG. All right, next up against Thwomp. Golbat into Hypno. A horrible lead for the most part. I'm going to switch out right away. Castform. And they're staying in for a bit. I mean, the confusions are chunking so hard. I'm throwing my my Weather Ball here, but this is a desync CMP tie, so I'm going to take this Ice Punch, and that's not a big deal. And then they managed to switch out to Diggersby. Yeah, I guess that's fine. I am going to, you know, just not do any damage with Hex, but I am going to be able to do some chip damage with these Weather Balls, and since I have so much of an energy lead, I don't know why they shielded. Well, I mean, I know why they shielded, because they're used to Castform having Energy Ball and Weather Ball. But yeah, switched out my Energy Ball for Weather Ball Rock. I think that's probably, I think Double Ball Castform is a very good set for here. Able to reach this next Weather Ball and chip this thing down a little bit more. It's going to be tough to chip down Diggersby. Frostlass will take super effective damage from the Fire Punches, but more importantly will take neutral damage from the Earthquake, which honestly does a lot more damage. Like, single resisted Earthquake would hurt way more than these Fire Punches are. With Fire Punch coming up predictably, it's just been easy to time out my moves. Have to throw this Poison Fang here, otherwise I will end up having to shield something because I don't want Golbat to be that low in case they have a Frostlass answer. Hypno is going to come out, and I am baiting with the Poison Fang, which is, you know, not amazing. And then I'm going to switch out to Frostlass. My opponent switches out into their Frostlass having the same thoughts. I don't throw my Shadow Ball right away. I am going to shield this just in case it is the Shadow Ball, and it actually is. They didn't bait me for once. Like, well done to my opponent. And yeah, they sneak in a Powder Snow also. But my Frostlass is not rated that well. It's number 100 and something, so I would probably win the CMP tie anyway. Regardless, my opponent no-shielded, trying to anticipate a Avalanche bait, which was a fine idea. I just didn't go with that. But yeah, Hypno comes back out. My Golbat has some energy, but I don't really want to get, run the risk of being Confusion down. So I'm just going to shield with Frostlass, throw some more Powder Snows, and just throw my Avalanche the second I get it. And yeah, we'll be able to take this game. GG. That was kind of a rough lead, but I mean, and it didn't go amazingly for me. I should have thrown Weather Ball with Castform sooner. I don't know. I figured they were going to switch out, and I thought I didn't want them to make a catch or something. So I waited a bit. Golbat into Obstagoon. This is a somewhat favorable lead for Golbat in the sense that you have control over whether you win it or not. Like, I didn't manage to sneak in a Wing Attack, which is unfortunate. I'm going to throw this Poison Fang, and then they switch out to try to catch the next Poison Fang on a Muck. I can't really throw anything against Muck. Everything would hit for not very effective. Maybe would have made sense to debuff it first. The Muck is actually running Acid Spray, which is hilarious. Hits my Castform with that. I am going to throw this normal Weather Ball. Since I wasn't super familiar with Castform's matchups yet, I didn't realize that it would have been highly beneficial to actually throw the Poison Fang first with Golbat. If I did, I would have been able to just go double Weather Ball. Would have taken out Muck a lot more safely. But, I mean, then Obstagoon would just come in and farm me down anyway. Not going to shield here if it's an Acid Spray, extra funny, and since it isn't, they take me out, but that's okay. I'm going to be able to come in with Golbat, farm up even more energy. I have so much energy now, I am just going to throw this Poison Fang right away. And since I know they're pretty much out of move, I'm just going to spam out the next one also. My opponent was maybe trying to undertap to this one, but I'm able to get that through, and there's a Beedrill left over in the back. I'm still able to reach another Poison Fang. I'm just going to debuff this Beedrill. Yeah, Golbat kind of tough for my opponent's team, and now I still have 2 shields. I'm just going to bring in Frostlass who resists poison, and I'm just going to be able to Powder Snow the whole way down if they wanted to shield. So there we go. Managed to take that game. GG. And that was another 5 out of 5, so 14 out of 15. These were my third, fourth, and fifth set out of the 5 that I had for that day. Was not able to assemble a team faster than that. Like, I played through the first 2 sets, kind of messing around with something. I tried running Castform, backing it up with Hypno and Haunter to cover fighters, and I forgot that Obstagoon was such a thing, and then I found Obstagoon in my first match, and it nearly swept my team, and I was like, all right. So, yeah, this team doesn't make sense. I better switch this up and actually think of something that'll actually work so I can make some content that will, be good, reliable. But yeah, it's a very accessible team, contains a lot of things that you probably already have. Castform has been spawning in the wild recently, and I think pretty much always has been somewhat available. If you don't have a Shadow Golbat, regular Golbat is fine. You might have to learn some of the matchups are slightly different, but on the whole, it wins most of the same matchups and loses most of the same matchups. But yeah, that's my team. Don't forget to do the things that you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. You know you're supposed to do them. Please do the things. I'll catch you guys on the next one.